Hey guys, Stuart from the Dark Artisan channel. Just thought I'd do a quick video for you. A couple of people at my local gaming club were asking how I do my bases for my Hive Fleet Gorgoroth, which is the model that you're looking at in front. If you've seen it before on the channel, this is obviously me flying Hive Tyrant Commander. Obviously this guy is finished, but a couple of people are just wanting to know how I do well, I suppose it's a Death World. What I wanted when I did the Tyranids is I wanted kind of not exactly a dead planet, but as though it's starting to die. You know, you can see by there is tufts of grass on on the edges here, just at the bottom of here and just in front of his tail there. I just wanted a bit of, as though the effect of the Tyranids, it has a dramatic effect on the planet for you guys who obviously read fluff. So I wanted to have that kind of effect. Now, to do the base, it is very, very simple. There's just a couple of things that you need. It only takes, there's 2 paints and there's 1 wash. Personally, I undercoat my bases with spray paint, which I'll go through that in a couple of moments, but I don't actually have any Tyranid models ready to show you right at the beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the initial application of how I very started, just using a spare Space Marine that I found. So just an old Space Marine, as you can see, he's seen better days. It's a really old model, this one. I've had it for years. I never really got around to doing it. So I'm just going to put him on a base, just a Terminator size base, just to show you the application of the initial the sand work that I do. So a couple of things that you guys will need for paints wise. You can use any paint that you wish, to be fair, but if you want to do the same as what I've done, same colours, I use GW's Citadel Dawnstone. I don't think we actually do this colour anymore, so I mean any grey really, you can step it up a notch, so a lighter, or if you want darker. You could use this for chaos themed bases, anything that you wish. So that's like the main application. This is after I've undercoated it with black. If you don't spray paint it, that is fine. If you hand brush it with black paint, that'll still work. But I find that spray paint is much easier because it helps adhese the sand a little bit better. As it gives it a little extra like clinginess to it. And of course it gives a nice even coat. So I use Dawnstone for the main dry brush, which I'll show you guys how I do that. You'll need some kind of white, whether it's white scar or whatever it's called now. I think this might be the colour it is now. This is just for the highlights. And 1 wash, which I use, is Seraphim Sepia, or Griffon Sepia if you've still got the old one, just to give that kind of tanned looking, which you see just around the edges, like a stained colour. For the dry brushing and also for putting PVA glue on the bases, I would recommend using an older brush, or if you can pick up a cheap brush from like a hobby place or a pound shop or something like that. For you guys watching in the States, I'm not sure if you have like a pound shop, but I'm sure you have like a 99-cent store, something like that. You'll be able to pick up a brush for next to nothing. So just use something that you're not bothered about whether it's going to be frayed at the end or anything like that, because these are the brushes that are that are going to be used for the heavy work, the heavy duty work. The only other thing, of course, that you'll need is good old PVA glue. You can get that anywhere. Anything like that will work. You can get a tub of it for about £1, if that. Same again, you guys in the States, you'll probably be able to get it for next to nothing. Only other thing is that I personally use, you guys don't have to do this, you can totally change it around, but for the tufts of grass I use, I actually bought tufts of grass, which is Army Painter, which is, this one is Wasteland Turf. I wanted like a Fallout kind of grass, like you see on the actual game Fallout. If you haven't played that guys, it's an awesome game. But anyway, it's just like a very brown colour, and it's self-adhesive on the bottom of it. But what I'm going to show you guys is I also apply a small amount of PVA glue on them, just to give it a little extra help. So what I'm going to do And of course you'll need sand as well, which I use just while I open this. I use sharp sand. You can pick up a tub of this literally for about £1. As you can tell, it's very there's quite a lot of stones in it. There's large stones, but it is nice. It's got that nice like texture to it. It's not like fluffy sand. You can see all these like big rocks and things like that in it, which is ideal for if you want like an urban theme, anything like that. So you'll need some of that. And like I say, it is dirt cheap. You can buy a huge, and I mean huge, bag for about just over £1. Very, very competitive, dead cheap. Now, I personally, when I got my sand, just in case this is the first time you're ever trying anything like this, when you very first get sharp sand, depending on where the warehouses that you get it from keep it, it may be damp. Now, when I very first got it, I thought that was the natural texture of it, so I was a bit confused. Now, dead easy, obviously, just dry it out, just stick it in a tub like what I've done, stick it on top of the radiator. Obviously not too hot, you don't want to melt your plastic or anything like that, but and that'll just dry it out nice, and that's when you'll get this nice like fine, that kind of effect. You don't want it clumpy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all, I'm going to get this guy here and just move the hive towel out of the way now. Shift this. So this is what we're going to work on first of all. So we're going to do the Space Marine. I'm just going to stick them on this base here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to apply the sand around them, and then obviously we'll show the next steps for that stage. But the first thing that I've always done with my models, this is a good habit to get in if you're going to start like doing your own basing rather than resin, is just get some normal glue, some plastic glue. I use the contactor Revel. This is absolutely amazing, and it is ridiculously cheap as well. It's really, really cool glue. And all you want to do is you just want to pop on one foot, just a small amount, just a tiny little amount, just so, just a tiny little dot, just to give it a little bit of grip to it. You don't purposefully do. You want to leave no glue on the other foot, because what we're doing is we're going to put the PVA glue after this guy's dried. Should be just leave him like that for a bit. What we're going to do is after he's set a little bit, is you're going to put the PVA glue around it, and then it means that you've left the areas for where you want your miniature to stand, whether it's a Space Marine, whether it's a Tyranid, anything like that. Like I say, I'm only doing on a Space Marine just to show you the initial product. This is a base that I'm working for me warrior. So what you'll end up with, that's how it'll look at for starters. Now it does look a mess at the moment. When you very first do it, but these gaps here that that one there and that one there, are obviously for the Tyranid warrior's feet. So it leaves these voids, which is on purpose. So when it's sprayed, you can just glue it straight back in. Sometimes, when you do, I made a mistake with this one. I actually glued all the sand on first. A bit of a rookie mistake. I've done it loads of times and I just totally forgot, so I had to cut it off. That's absolutely fine. At the end of the day, it doesn't have to be even. It's the whole purpose is you want it to be uneven. So what I'm going to do is just very quickly show you the application. Like I say, some of you guys out there, it'll be, this is very, very beginner stuff, but might as well show you from start to beginning. So you just want to get your knackered old brush, the brush that you're not really bothered about, and you want to layer it quite a lot with PVA glue. It's okay if you get it on the feet. Obviously try if you can not to get horrendous amounts of it on, because you unless of course you're doing like a snow theme or you're doing something purposeful where you want that look, then that's absolutely fine. I personally don't have a lot of sand coming up the legs, but like I say, it is okay if you do it. It gives a nice little effect that they're trudging through the whatever kind of base that you've put on, whether it's a swamp or anything, to be honest. This is very good for doing urban as well, which is kind of what I originally went for. Then I decided to change it to like a dying world. So it's also good for that. If you get like some bits of scenery, break it down, plug it on, stuff like that, it'd be great. So you just want to lather it up. You know, you want to be quite generous. It's still a tiny little bit loose, but it should be okay. This is very, very rough work. When you're doing it yourselves, just leave it a little bit longer than what I have, just to give it enough time for it to dry on its base. What I'll do is you literally just want to stick them on there. You want to get your sand, which I will get in a moment. And what I'm going to do, normally I do this the other way around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick them in there. I'm not actually going to bury them in it though. If you get like cardboard box or something like that, you know, or some kind of, I don't know whether it's even a cup or something like that, and you want to grab a handful and you want to sprinkle it evenly, you will catch the miniature. Obviously when you guys are doing it, you'll have two hands, so hold it at an angle so you can get all the angles. You know, just so you can, but just because he's still a little bit loose, I don't want to lift him up too much. But when you guys are doing it, you know, it'll be fine, it'll be dry, so you'll have loads of angles you can catch at. So you just want to sprinkle it on. It's okay if you get the big rocks on. It's absolutely fine. You want it quite uneven. Okay, so as you can see, you know, it's all over the model, but I'm not bothered. It's an old model. It's a miniature. Like I say, he's been through loads. He can handle it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a bit of a break, let this guy dry, and what I'll do actually is that's the initial the initial start. In the meantime, that's the last we're going to see of him, because what I'll do is I will jump back to the Tyranid one that's already dry. So I'm going to go out and spray these. Right guys, so we're back just after doing the first initial stage. So that's what the base will look like once the sand is on. So the next stage, dead easy to do, obviously, is to just shake off the excess sand. Now because of the amount of glue that you've put on, hopefully a lot of it shouldn't come off. It's actually a good thing if the big stones come off at this stage. You don't want them to come on when you're painting. The next thing that you just want to do is, where you can see, just need my thumb there, is to just use your thumb and just gently pull down just to get the excess. Don't do side to side because you'll end up pulling more sand off than what you need. So you just go all the way around just until you're happy with the way that it is. I think that'll do for now. And because obviously that you've only just stuck one leg on, it should quite easily just snap off. So very gently. A little bit more might come off than necessary, but that's basically what you're looking for. So you've left a nice little area where your miniature's feet are going to stand. Gives you a bit of a guiding point as well. So that's the first stage. And the next stage, what I've been doing in the meantime, is obviously for me already, he's the one I've done earlier kind of thing, was that's what it looked like after it's been sprayed. I've just had these outside. You know, I've missed a little bit there, but it's quite easy to fix that. So what we're going to do next is we're going to paint this base, and just going to do the first stage, which is going to be, as I said earlier, just in case, which is the Dawnstone colour that I'm going to use. Like I said earlier, you can use any kind of grey that you wish. We're just going to do a heavy dry brush just to get all these areas. And what you're looking to do is to just brush it across. If you've done dry brushing before, you'll know exactly what I mean. Just actually probably need a little bit more on than that. So I'm just looking for a nice thickish coat all the way across. Doesn't matter if you go over the sides, doesn't matter if you get in these areas, because these areas are going to be covered up by your miniature's feet. So you're just looking to cover as many angles as possible as well. For the paint that you're going to be using, obviously with whatever paint scheme that you do, just water it down a little bit, just so that it flows over these areas quite well. And be as rough as you wish. If, like I said earlier, when you end up gluing the stones and everything on, It's actually a good thing if the larger stones, if they do come off, don't glue them back on, just leave them and just paint over, because ideally if any stones are going to fall off, you want them to fall off now, as opposed to when you're actually using them in game. You don't want them falling off halfway during a battle. So you're just wanting to just make sure that it's quite a nice nice coat. Just keep spinning it around just to get all the different angles, especially around all these rocks. You don't want to cover every single, you don't want like to basically just undo all the black. You just want to get as many angles as possible. So you can see all your undercoat just in these angles there. I think that should be fine. So that's kind of the result that you get at that stage. So what we'll do is we'll leave that to dry for a couple of moments. Probably give it about maybe 5 minutes just to fully dry out. Right, so that's the grey parts and everything all done. Just in the meantime, I've decided to do the other bases as well, so they're all just drying in the background. And like I said, it only takes about maybe about 3-4 minutes, if that. So the next colour that you want to use, like I say, is you want to use a white. I'm currently using white Scar, which I showed you at the beginning. So you just want to get some on your paint, on your brush, just not that much, like. You just want to get nice and thin, and you want this to be quite a light dry brush instead of what you've just done, because you don't want to take away the grey. You just want to be very gentle with this, just to brighten things up a little bit. It's okay if you make a mistake, because it's quite light, so you'll be able to, be able to brush it off, dull it down once the wash goes on as well. So you just want a nice little, nice and gentle strokes just over the majority of the areas. Doesn't matter what kind of pattern that you do it in, to be fair. Just brings up all that, all the raised edges, just brightens it up a little bit more. So this, as you can see, it's very, very quick, this technique. You just want to make sure you get all the raised stones where the larger stones of the sharp sanders are stuck. Looking quite nice. Okay. Right guys, so as you can see, miniatures now on the base. So the next stage, what I'm going to do is just going to take some of the turf. Like I say, it is self-adhesive as well. I'm just going to tear a little section of it off. Okay. Now, if you've already got some of these, or if you've ever bought them before, you'll notice, it's kind of like, it's tough that I'm holding it by, and on the bottom bit that you can see there where it's shining, that's the adhesive glue. But what I like to do is just dab a little bit of PVA glue on as well, just to add a little bit. Just put a little blob on it there, just to give it a little bit more adhesiveness to it. And what we're going to do is just going to grab I normally like to choose like a spot near the rocks. We'll just stick them in there. Doesn't really matter if it's like off a little bit, just try and work it in. Use your thumbnail a little bit just to try and get it right tucked in there. It'll look wet when you very first put it on because of the PVA. It's fine. Get any excess like this on the end, don't know if you can see with the camera there where it's just moving it, just pull it off gently, just discard it. So I think what I'll do is just put a couple more on, starting to take shape. Obviously all these areas around the side here where it's all grey and everything, just use a bad and black, just nice and smooth it off, and then it'll turn out like what I've done for the Hive Tyrants. You know how he's nice and smooth around the bottom there. See, so it's starting to have a more uniformed feel now. And this is the final stage. So what we're going to do is just get some Seraphim Sepia. And like I said earlier, it's if you've got the old one, it's I think it's Griffon Sepia. And what you're looking to do is, well, you can do whatever you wish, to be fair, but I normally like to stain the ground with this, and you can be quite generous with the wash as well. Just give it a little bit near the rocks and quite near the trees as well. It's as though the soil underneath it is starting to break. And just some near this rock under here. So you don't have to be particularly ordered or careful at this stage. You want it to look as though the area's starting to be affected by the Tyranids taking all the biomass. Any big high rocks, I would leave them, because it's quite nice to see, you know, if you dull them down. I suppose it's okay if you catch it by accident, but if you dull it down, you know, personally I like the rocks to shine a little bit better. Okay, so it's starting to take shape, I think that'll do for that guy actually. Maybe just put a little bit of a streak small around the back of here. It's okay if you catch the rocks now and again, it's fine. Okay, so apart from that, that's that guy almost done. So what I'll do, very quickly, just neaten his base up there, and then I'll show you the finished result, and then we'll all be done. Right guys, and there we have it. So that is the finished result. So just painted the black line. It's still a little bit wet, just leave that to dry, but that is the basing technique all done and dusted. So that is my scheme for my hive fleet at the moment. If you like the base, like I say, just apply it. You can change the colours around. You know, if you wanted to put greener grass on, or you know, if you wanted to make it look more urban-y, things like that, that's absolutely fine. But I'm pleased if you've found this helpful. Then give it a like. Like I say, stay tuned to the Dark Artisan channel for more Q&As, more battle reports. If you like what you see for the colour scheme or anything like that, if you want us to show how I do things like the chitin work, stuff like that, absolutely fine. Just leave a comment on this video, and as always, just tune in next time.